Alright everyone, it's time for a special video here that shouldn't have to be made because it was entirely unavoidable, but Beijing Biden became a thing and all hell broke loose and now the economy's fucked, Jimmy Carter style, and now our diplomacy is fucked Gerald Ford style, a la Vietnam. Here's the problem. The Taliban has just taken Kandahar, or at least has basically taken it, has taken Herat, is within a stone's throw now of Kabul, actually, and U.S. troops have moved back into Afghanistan just to evacuate the embassy there because there's so much fighting going on. Now, here's what I said months ago. When Beijing Biden decided unilaterally to push back the withdrawal date in Afghanistan from May, which was brokered by Trump, to September 11th, literally, which totally wasn't for political purposes. Thankfully, we withdrew a little bit earlier than that, but it doesn't matter as we see now. It was for political reasons, and I said at the time, this means that Afghanistan is likely to fall into the hands of the Taliban, because what Biden and people around him don't understand is something that Trump did. This is why Trump succeeded in Korea. This is why Trump succeeded with China. This is why Trump did well in Asian politics, whether it be Central Asia, East Asia, South Asia, wherever. This is why Trump did well talking to Putin. This is why Biden fails talking to Putin. This is why Trump was capable of having a conversation with Xi Jinping, even though he was hardballing the dude, and Beijing Biden won't even appear in the same room as him. This is the problem. When you go to a country like Afghanistan, if you make a deal, and then you unilaterally decide to say, in your starch shirt with your Western linguistics, with your Western affect, hey, yeah, I know I said I'd repay you, but it's going to be a few months late, so that's fine, right? It's not fine. The Taliban recruited manpower from regional powers within Afghanistan. Each region within Afghanistan has its own... You realize how many tribes are in Afghanistan? How many different diaspora groups of people with their own linguistic subgroups, their own cultural subgroups, even their own religious subgroups? Do you realize how technically cosmopolitan Afghanistan is, being in the specific location that it is? Most people don't. They just think, oh, it's Afghanistan. It's Afghans. They practice Islam. No, bullshit. That's not the way that it works. The problem is Trump knew that. He went over there. He followed the tribal customs, talking to the Afghan government, made sure the Taliban was involved, and said, look, we want to withdraw. We're going to need some assurances here. The Taliban agreed. It would have been absolutely devastating to the Taliban had we stuck to that agreed upon May 1st withdrawal date if they had decided to do what they're doing right now, because they wouldn't have had the blessing of the tribal warlords. It would have been considered culturally inappropriate. I hate to tell you this, but yeah, there are people in the world that actually still give a shit about convention. I know that in the United States, Western Europe and stuff, that's not a thing, and people are like, yeah, fucking twist the knife. In some parts of the world, your word actually still means something. When the U.S. government brokers a withdrawal agreement and says, oh, here's the terms, the Afghan government has agreed upon it, even though they're technically a puppet regime, the Taliban has signed on, other powers have signed on, and then it decides to say, hey, fuck the agreement. No, we're going to stay for a few months longer because we don't trust you. What signal does that give to the people of Afghanistan? It signals that Uncle Sam is not wanting to leave. So what do? The Taliban goes around with its propaganda and says, hey, Uncle Sam's not leaving. They decided, hey, the withdrawal date means nothing. They agreed to it. They inked the paper and they're still not leaving. How doesn't that chap your ass? Doesn't that make you feel a little bit put upon? Hey, they've been here for 20 years. Hey, what's 20 more? Why don't you come work for the Taliban? Yeah, we'll give you a gun or grenades or whatever, and then we'll go fight them. We'll chase them off of our land. It was funny because not that many decades ago, we were calling these people freedom fighters when the Mujahideen were rising up against the Soviet Union. By the way, they kicked the shit out of them. The U.S. did far better, but withdrawal was still necessary, number one. Proper, number two. We should never have gone in the first place, number three. And we should have stuck to the goddamn agreement. Beijing Biden has lost Afghanistan. The Afghan government at this point is teetering on the brink, will probably fall. That's now a probable thing. It was kind of probable before, but if it was a 60-40 a month ago, it's like an 80-20 now. The Afghan government's probably going to go bye-bye. Apparently, the Taliban is now executing people who surrender, although that may be propaganda to try to keep people from surrendering, to try to maintain Kabul. It's a failed state. The United States has failed. Thanks to the U.S. government for starting a war when I was still in goddamn middle school and completely screwing the pooch over successive administrations. The one man who actually gave us a way out, which was Donald Trump, that wouldn't have led to disaster, was castigated as an evil man, an evil, brainless slime. Orange man bad. Orange man doesn't know diplomacy. Oh my God, he's talking to dictators. No, Donald Trump knew how to talk to Putin. He knew how to talk to Jinping. He knew how to talk to Duterte. And he knew how to talk to the Taliban. That was probably his greatest strength. That and tax reform. Trump got us out of this. Biden decided that at the 11th hour, when we were in the process of already leaving, hey, I'm going to throw a wrench in between these bicycle wheels and topple it over, and then I'll blame Orange Man, and I guarantee you, if Kabul falls, as is now unfortunately quite likely, they will blame Donald Trump. I have said it before, and I say it again. They'll say something to the following effect. Here's one possible way that they'll blame it on Orange Man. Well, Beijing Biden tried. He really, really did. He was doing the best for the Afghan people. He was trying to keep these evil fanatics from taking over their country. But Trump decided to fuck it all up. Trump brokered a withdrawal that was too quick. If we had only stayed in there for, I don't know, a few more months or a few more years, everything would have magically been better. And then, of course, that's horse shit. Every millennial knows it's horse shit. But Biden should be the one blamed for this. This wasn't even necessary. We had a withdrawal agreement. The Taliban had signed on. When the United States said, hey, we're not going to abide by it, we essentially smacked them in the face and then expected them to lay down their arms anyway and say, oh, well, Uncle Sam's only staying for a few extra months. That's okay. Yeah, it's okay. We've called for their blood. We've called them the Great Satan. We've told them to get the fuck out over and goddamn over for 20 years. Suddenly, though, it's okay if they spend a few more months here because they don't trust us enough to allow us free reign while they, I don't know, empty the embassy or empty a base or something. They're running around with U.S. surplus now. Afghanistan was already a powder keg because when the Soviets marched in, they got so ass blasted that they left behind crates of fucking AKs and hand grenades, APCs and tanks. Everything under the sun you can think of was left behind. Well, the Taliban grabbed it all. The Mujahideen with Osama bin Laden, who, by the way, was a really great guy according to the United States at the time when he was fighting the fucking commies. Then we decided, hey, we're marching in. The United States marches in the wake of September 11th. We eventually supposedly kill Osama, although Benazir Bhutto, who was assassinated under odd circumstances, said that he died of kidney failure a number of years prior. Anyway, Osama's gone. What do? Hey, Afghan government, you want some weapons? We got all sorts of Bradley fighting vehicles. We've got yesteryear's tanks, the early wave of Abrams tanks. We'll give you a few of them. Lots and lots of body armor. Hell, you can have it all. Here's a bunch of money. Here's a bunch of weapons. We're not actually going to help anyone in the Outlands area, but we'll make Kabul look like kind of developed. And this was the whole fucking goal. Trump decided to reverse course. He said from day one, we should withdraw. We never should have gone in the first place, and he's right when he surmises that. Biden decided to fuck it up. Never underestimate Joe Biden's capability to fuck things up. Now, millions and millions of Afghans will have to live under Taliban rule, and it's not because of Trump. We had to withdraw someday anyway. What are we supposed to do? Are we supposed to have U.S. troops in Kabul and Kandahar and all of these other places for the rest of time? Well, clearly that wasn't capable of happening. I know that having cheap opium is a great thing because then the Chinese can buy it, they can make fentanyl, they can export it to the U.S., keep people addicted. The politicians love it because then they can put those people in prison and use them as slave labor, and one hand washes the other. They're all tied to China anyway. We had a way out, and Biden decided to shoo it away. Why? Because of his goddamn ego. At the end of the day, when Kabul falls, when you see Taliban soldiers in Kabul, when you see Al-Qaeda's flag waving above the capital of Afghanistan, remember, it's a testament to Joe Biden's unwillingness to allow Donald Trump to take credit for ending America's longest war. Again, barring Korea, which technically was longer. It's horse shit. And there'll be so much propaganda. Oh my goodness. And now that Kandahar's fallen, the writing is pretty much on the wall. It'll take a miracle for the Afghan government to maintain Kabul. Like, what are we going to do? We could maintain it. Yeah, let's drop like 10,000 more U.S. troops there. We'll defend Kabul. It'll be a city-state in a sea of Taliban fighters constantly getting attacked by mortars and rockets. Wow, what a wonderful time. What a great deal we've accomplished in the middle of Central Asia, a place that we never had any reason to be in the first place. We should have taken those troops and put them somewhere that mattered. Maybe we should have done what the Sudanese government wanted and help with the Janjaweed rebels. Maybe we should have helped the refugees, hundreds of thousands of them, in Darfur. Maybe we should have helped the Rwandans. Maybe we should have had those troops in Eastern Europe to fend off Ruskies or something. Maybe we should have done something right with them. Maybe we should have had them on the U.S. border. Maybe that would have been better. But no, Joe Biden has decided to let Kabul fall to a bunch of fanatics, and that's what will probably, unfortunately, happen now. Yeah, wonderful. Yeah, what a wonderful end to 20 years of nonstop retarded warfare. That's about all. Peace out.